Hi, if you don't know me, my name is Faybe. I am a human and a storyteller and nothing else. I do art and streaming on Twitch. Today I'm going to be going through and doing a step-by-step how to draw a chibi. This is going to be kind of a long video. I might edit it down, we'll see, because it's all about time and whatnot. There might be people jumping in and out. I will probably cut them out for longevity sake, but let's get to it. So I'm going to be drawing Demon Raiju VT today. I was hoping this lesson could be anywhere between like a semi intro lesson for people who are new to drawing, or people that really don't know what's going on, what's happening. If they want to learn a bit more about clip, if they want to learn a little bit more about shading practices, art history, stuff like that. So I'm probably going to talk just the whole time. So for any of you using like Procreate, Clip Studio Paint, stuff like that, we're going to be doing around a 2000 by 2000 canvas. I like working a little bit bigger when it comes out as a higher resolution, and you can always go smaller when posting. You can never go larger than what you started with. I also use a 300 point resolution that makes any piece ready for posting for like if you want to make merch or prints of your work. Usually posting online you only need about 72, but for if you're gonna be like printing or anything, you want at least 300. If I'm working on something that I'm going to be making into a t-shirt or a sticker, I'll even bump it up to 600, but that could be a bit harder on your system. 300 is all you need. You can also change the name. I never do because I'm a menace to society. There. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and create a gray background for myself to work on. You could do that in the menu. I like doing it this way because it's easier to, I don't know. In my brain, I'm like, that's just easier to do. I also like to work in blues because that is what animators work in when they're doing their, back in the day, they would draw in blue pencil because it was hard to pick up by scanners. So they could do all their pre-work in blue, and it just stuck with me and I enjoy working with it. You can work in whatever colors you want. So when you're building a chibi, we're going to be using the silver ratio. So if you don't know what that means, in art, there are two kinds of ratios. So there's the golden ratio, which is a rectangle. And the idea is that if you keep splitting the rectangle up, the point of interest will be in the middle of those rectangles. Right? And the silver ratio is much the same. This was coined in, the golden ratio was coined in England and the silver ratio was coined in Japan. You can see kind of like the history behind that in the English language, why it would be called silver, because Britain's an asshole. Not to mince words, this is an 18+ stream. So if we go ahead, it's the same principle. If you keep cutting the square in half, eventually you'll get your middle part. But you can see here, this is your chibi face, right? If I were to take the silver ratio, you have your two big eyes and your mouth. Bing, bang, boom. The same with like the golden ratio. The golden ratio is perfect for drawing anime faces or human faces. This is what you'd be using for realism when drawing like an actual human face. I'm using the lasso tool right now, which allows me to get rid of large pieces of land. And if you push, for those of you on Clip Studio, if you push C, it allows you to automatically draw with transparency. I'm on the wrong layer. Ooh, oh boy. But yes, it allows you to draw with transparency. I'm also just using the pen tool. You can also use your pencil tool if you wish. There's a lot of different tools you can use. When using the pencil tool, I like using the mechanical pencil. I also will just draw with the regular G pen. I really like how flat it looks. I really like the consistency with the lines, but feel free to play around. It all depends on what style you like, what you're thinking of, what's going on, stuff like that. So in the end, it's really up to you. I'm going to move up to a 17 just so it's a bit easier for me to see. And the reason we change the background here to gray is so that it's easier on our eyes. As artists, especially digital artists, we're looking at a screen for hours a day. So it's really important to do things to minimize eye strain, such as working in dark mode and changing your background to something that isn't stark white, so that when you're drawing, you're not hurting yourself. So when I'm blocking in my chibi, I'm going to add this crossbar here. So it doesn't need to be a perfect circle. It just needs to be an estimate of a circle. But get your circle in. And I also like to have my stabilization really low for my sketching. So you'll see like I have it up to like, what, fucking 5. So it's still a little bit there to help with like any shakiness or whatever else. But when you're sketching, you want your stabilization to be a bit lower, so that you're not like bashing your head into a wall. And again, we're going to be using that golden ratio, right? If we're going to box this into a square, we know where the eyes are, we know where the everything else is. One problem that people find when they're starting doing chibis is that like they'll go right in for the eyes, and then they do the eyes too big because the eyes are really like gemmy and fun to work with. So you have to be careful about that. It also depends on what kind of chibi you're doing. For like more of my detailed chibis, I'll do more of an Adventure Time style. It also depends on if you want them to be more childlike, if you want them to be more adult-like, so what you're going for. I'm drawing Raiju, so she's a bit more sexy. She's a little bit more feminine, so I'm going to be going a little bit higher with the eyes. So for example, if you want to have an older looking character, a younger looking character, and this goes for chibi or otherwise, because chibis are usually looking very young. And the reason for that is because the eyes sit lower on the face. So the eyes, usually they'll have a larger forehead. The eyes will be here, and then your mouth will be here. And that makes for a very young looking character. And that is because babies in the human brain have larger eyes and larger foreheads, where the higher you put the eyes, the more adult the character might seem. I don't like where I put that first eye, so we're getting rid of it. Now we're taking the human face and we're warping it beyond belief. If we were going to do a regular human face, which I will draw up here in the corner. A circle, we got the line, right? We got the chin. Nose is about here, mouth. There are certain rules we can follow that help us build the face. For example, the eyes are always one eye width apart. The nose is always one eye width down. And the mouth will always rest between the eyes. Ears will reach from the ear holes down to the bottom of the nose. I'm just drawing in the back of the head. And then your hairline will reach about here. And of course, this isn't for every human. This is just kind of like a base. So this is a good place to start before trying to push further and go farther with it. So we're going to be doing something very similar with this because we're still following some of those basic rules for drawing a human face, but we're just transporting it over to a chibi. So for chibis, you want a larger eye, because that's really what's important with a chibi is these big, gummy, pretty eyes. So again, I'm putting it a bit higher on the face. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to start adding other features. So the eyebrow is still going to be there, but it's going to be a bit smaller. And some people don't add noses. I think noses are really cute. So I'm going to add the nose about the same place I would on a human face, right here. Now my noses, I like to do little triangles. You could do circles. You could do basic shapes like this. It's really up to you. My friend Cotty likes to do like a little one of these. I think it's super cute. I like a little bubble nose. I like a little button nose. Now when you're doing any artwork, there's a couple different kinds you can do. If you're doing someone in a space, never have them looking at the camera. If you're having like a sticker or something like that, you can break those rules, and there's certain ways to do it. I like doing people at 3/4 view. A lot of artists do. They call it the same face syndrome. When you do the exact same face shape and the exact same way they're looking every time. I find that doing it at a 3/4 view, you kind of get a little bit more depth and character than having someone look face on. If you're doing face on, you can do things like use the symmetry tool that make things like a little bit faster and easier. Just you have to watch that it's kind of like spot on, otherwise people can really tell you use the symmetry tool. Now I'm going to follow our rule where I'm going to come in here and I'm going to draw halfway down. Now some people like having like a little mouth or matching that like this. Usually that looks a little bit more natural. For Raiju, I'm going to give her a smirk. So I'm going to have the mouth come up. I'm going to have it line up here with the middle eye, but I'm going to have it fall short over here because we're doing a 3/4 view. So that means that this mouth can be a little bit shorter because it's a little bit further away from the camera. There we go. I'm going to go in with a little bit darker of a blue, so I can map out things like where I want Raiju's head to be. And I'm going to go back a little bit further because I'm going to build the human skull. When you see a skull, it's not just a circle, it's 2 circles like this. So we have a little bit of an oblong shape to our heads. Or a little bit more like this. So we want to take that over. Now Raiju is a cat girl, so I'm not going to be doing the regular kind of human ear. Usually I would just tack a half circle here, maybe do a little like lump here for a human. But because Raiju's a cat, and I might have to bring her down because she's a cat. So let's just move her down the page a little bit. So I'm going to go with these great big ears. Her ears aren't actually this big, but we're going for the cuteness factor. So because of that, we want to enlarge certain things to add just like, because people think it's cute. When you have a small character with great big ears, people find it super cute. We also want to pay attention to what the different shapes we're playing with there are, because different shapes have different languages. So even though these are cat's ears, I'm going to round them out a little bit more because people find, especially human beings, when we look at shapes, we find like things that are round or soft looking to be nice and comforting. So we want to add a little bit more of that comfort. And Raiju has these cute little floofs in her ears that come from like manga and different Japanese animations. She has cute bangs. Now, she doesn't know I'm doing this, so I'm going to surprise her. I told her that I might draw her in a maid outfit, so she doesn't know that I'm actually going to do it. Here we go. Now, when I like to form the eyes, no matter what, when you're doing anime, chibis, even doing more cartoon animations, eyes are going to come in the circle of, or in the shape of a circle. Even my eyes, if you look at them, yes, they're ovals. Because I based Faybe's eyes off of both anime and American cartoons. She's kind of definitely a mix of both. So we're going to go for the round shape of Raiju's eye here. And so when we're going in and we're building around that circle, I don't really need to draw it anymore because I've been doing this for a fairly long time. But it's a good idea to keep that in mind. You want to keep eyes very round, even if you're doing a more angular eye, for example. Like if you're coming in and you want your character to be sharp, you're not going to just draw across. You want a little bit of a curve to the eye. You can still get those really sharp points like by adding like different kinds of lashes here and there, but that bottom part you're always going to want to have a little bit of a curve, like so. Now, I find teaching like this makes it a little bit easier on me because I can draw and talk at the same time. It's a bit more of a free-form lesson, so I'm hoping that you guys find it useful. Now, I should look up a actual reference of Raiju. Just in case, you know. Ah, I see Annie's in chat. Hello, Annie. I'm recording to put this up on YouTube afterwards. I'm not sure how many people are going to come in, but just so that you know that that's happening. Let's see here. We got some form. We got some form of the thing. Because Reggie has these cute little bangs that come down. And then she has a little bit of this shape with her bang. And then it comes down into her short little cut. It does this. And comes back. It's very cute. I really like Reggie's hair. So when building the hair, you kind of want to go a bit bigger than your skull. Your hair will sit on top of it because it's layered. I don't have the TTS on, Annie. You're very funny. Annie knows that I'm using OBS and I have the chat set up for Twitch. I might have just wanted to go live with this, to be honest, but I'm cool with not. Like, I wanted this one to be just a Discord one. I'm going to be doing a other lesson that will be on Twitch that I'll also be posting up on YouTube. So when I'm doing this part here, this is the iris, we're going to follow the same rule where everything kind of moves in a circle. For animation, you'd actually cut it out, but you want these to be relatively the same size. This one can be a little bit smaller because, again, it's a little bit further away from the viewer. So it can be a little bit more squashed and stretched. So we can push this one a little bit more. Again, if you push C on your keyboard, you're going to be using transparency, which means you don't have to move your mouse around to waste time like that, or switch your pen around depending on what kind of model you're using for your tablet. Again, if you are following along with a pencil and paper, just use your eraser. But if you're like me and you're working on a program, there are usual shortcuts with that. Clip Studio is one of the rare programs that has the paint with transparency tool, which is extremely helpful. So I would make sure to use that. It's Control C to start working with transparency or moving back to the color you were working at, and then Control V to swap to your secondary color. So again, I'm just pushing Control C here to paint with the transparency. Unless my keyboard decides that it doesn't want to work and makes a fool out of me. Come on. What's going on? Oh, it's not Control C, it's just C. There we go. I'm a normal person that's very good at talking. Now I've pointed Raju's chin. I think that I'm dislike that and I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna go back to the rounded feature. It's up to you. Some people have really angular faces on their models, so I like to go with more of a pointed chin. In this case though, I think I'm gonna go more rounded. And now we're gonna get to the body. So a lot of the time you should, because I was wanting to teach more about the face, we just went right for it. But you should probably plan your pose out beforehand. We're gonna do her pose now. So there's several different ways you can do a chibi body. We're gonna go for a basic teardrop. So you have this shape here, where you're gonna go thin at the neck and thick at the base. No. I might also tilt her head up. This is why you plan your pose out first. Now you could go for sexier poses when with drawing Faybe, if I do a quick Faybe up in the corner here. I like to do it instead of the teardrop. I'll still follow the teardrop rule, so this teardrop is still there, but I like to draw her boobs here, and then her butt here, and then I will connect them like this. And then get the skirt in. So you still get that sexier, cute pose without it looking too childlike or like you're putting tits on a on a baby. By using your basic shapes, but we're going to stick with this. Oh my god! Hello, Oppo! Just so you know, I am recording for YouTube. So this is my good friend Oppo. He's going to be joining for the lesson. Hello, hello. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I got confused. Yeah, you just push C. You just push C or V. No. No. Yeah, that's part of the reason I wanted to record it. It's going to go up on YouTube. But also for anyone joining the call or that's in the call that wishes to talk, just so you know, this is going to be recorded and thrown up there. Just so you're fully aware that there's no like, haha, fooled you. Yes. Unfortunately, the recording can't hear you. I can only hear you. Oppo did call me a dork. Yes. I should turn the Discord on for the recording. You're right. Like, I didn't know how many people were going to be coming by today. Because it is just like a Discord only thing. And it's not like a community event. It's more like, hey, come watch me draw while I talk about art. So I figured it'd be a good idea to record while I'm doing it. There we go. So I'm drawing Raiju, which is very fun because me and her had a conversation and I was like, oh, that's inspiring. Because she was like, I could be your live-in maid. You should let me move in with you, Annie and Kit, and I'll be your live-in maid. And so I said, bet. And so I'm drawing her in a maid outfit.
That's cute.
I'm gonna give Raiju a bit of a smaller nose because she has like one of those in her own art that like Connie does for her. She does like one of these cute little noses like this. So I'm going to try and replicate that with my own style, while still giving her a cute, sharp little nose.
Gotta make that nose movable.
Exactly. Like for Faybe, I like giving Faybe a bit of a bigger nose. I kind of have a lowest nose for her. So if I turn my model, you can see that I kind of replicated that. Her nose is still a bit small, but it still has that lowest L shape. But you want to keep that in mind for whatever character you're doing. There we go. There we go. And Raiju's kind of a bit more of an adult character, so we're going to go in and do the same thing I was talking about with Faybe's body, where I add in a circle here and a circle here for the hips. Now, Raiju is a bit of a thinner character, so I'm going to go a bit smaller with those circles, where with Faybe, I kind of just like draw big circles because she's plus size. And then I do the same thing with the body. Now, this is kind of, people do things a little bit different with chibis. I like to stick with teardrops for the whole body, where you have a teardrop for the main torso, a teardrop for both arms, and a teardrop for both legs. Right? So where the feet are going to be massive, but your shoulders and your hips or your thighs are going to be small. Other people like just drawing the whole thing, like little itty bitty feet. Where I find I like more so having the character look like a teddy bear. Again, that is up for your personal taste, what you like. Neither way is wrong or right. It's more so what you want your character to look like.
I just want to draw Neko arc.
That's so valid, Oppo. That's so valid.
Like, you know, Nya.
Yeah? Should I do that for this pose? Should I make Raiju do a cute little Nya pose?
You should obviously make her do a cute little Nya pose.
Make her pop a hip. What I'm doing now is I'm getting a curve in for your body. So your body is always going to move at a certain curve. This could also be called the line of action. Well, there's a website actually called that, which is free for artists. If you don't use it already, you should. It's lineofaction.com.
That shit rules.
It shit rules. And they're constantly adding new models. They recently got a couple plus size disabled models in. So tons of different body sizes and shapes. You can set it to your preference. If you don't want to look at naked bodies, you don't have to. But it's all about life drawing. So check out Line of Action if you don't use it yet. It's it's free to use. So I can't suggest it more, especially for newer artists that might not have access to life drawing classes.
Is that line dash action?
No, just line of action, all one word.
Isn't it?
No, it's line of action, all one word.
Oh. Might I also recommend AdorkaStock? They have a lot of really, really good stock pictures. For poses and shit.
Yee. Which I can add both of those. Annie, would you message both of them to me so I don't forget to add them to the YouTube description?
Yes.
So I'm going to plot out where I want Raiju's cute little paws to go. Actually, I'm going to have her body come this way. Now, a body can you take the form of an S, can take the form of a C, because your body is very fluid, and this will also help you figure out where your hips and your shoulders are going to go. So for example, at a C curve, your shoulders are going to tip like this, so you know your hips are going to do the opposite, and that is because our bodies naturally try and correct to keep ourselves up and balanced. So for example, if my shoulders are like this, and then I turn my hips like this also, I'm gonna fall over.
Real quick.
Yeah.
It is line-of-action.com.
So I stand corrected. I stand corrected. Thank you, Annie.
Nope.
Oh, you said it wasn't that?
I did.
I wasn't paying attention. I found the website. I was just trying to be helpful.
There we go. So I think we're going to do a little S curve forward. So that means Raiju's shoulders are doing this. So her hips are probably going to do this. And that means her feet are going to come down like this. I'm going to lower the opacity here and move to a new layer just because I'm getting a little bit lost in the sauce with all the different lines. And this will allow me to work on top of the layer that I'm currently working on. If you don't understand layers, because especially you can't do this on a piece of paper. On a piece of paper, make sure that you're erasing, and that'll give you sort of the same effect. Especially if you're like me and you like to really push down with your pencil, I suggest trying to keep your pencil light and fluffy. Even for digital artists, you want to be a bit softer when you're drawing, and that's just so that you're not like, you know, scratching the heck out of whatever surface you're drawing on. For a kind of an explanation on what layers are for anybody that is new to Clip Studio, layers act almost like a new drawing. So it's almost as if you're putting a glass top on top of other work that acts separately from it, so that you can draw on top of that other plane of glass without affecting anything underneath. And you can add as many pieces of glass on top as you'd like on Clip Studio. On other free programs, sometimes they limit this. Like say like when we do the big draw together challenges, or we use like draw, oh, what is it called? The drawing game, Annie.
I don't know. Just to say, I don't know. I will also say you can do that on in like traditional media as well. If you've got like lighter sheets of paper, or if you want to just use tracing paper, although it's like if you've got like a nice light piece of paper that's not on your sketchbook or anything, if you've got like a lot of desk space, you can like tape that down and then do like different layers with the sketch paper, and then you can put like another one of those on top of everything, and kind of like with the light in the right place, or one of those fancy ass tables that are glass with the light coming up from underneath will really do it for you easy. Then you can like all combine it onto one piece of paper at the end like that. We did that a couple times in school, but it's a pain in the ass. But if you want to do it, like traditionally, that's how you would do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, by the way.
You talking about the game where we like all take turns drawing something?
Yes.
No, that's Gardic Phone.
Gardic Phone. On Gardic Phone, there is layers on Gardic Phone as well, but I think you get 2. You get 1 and 2.
Really?
I think so.
No, I think you're thinking of the one where we all draw together on the same canvas.
Oh, that one too. That one too.
Yeah, but Gardic Phone doesn't have more than 1 layer, I don't think.
Well, don't listen to me.
Actually, doesn't have 2. It has like an edit layer and like a non-edit layer, or like a no layer from. At least the one thing is specifically like the animation ones. So like you can draw on the thing and like leave notes for the next drawing person if you finish early. So
maybe
you can have things to go by.
I don't think I've ever played the animation game version. I just know that for the telephone games or the exquisite corpse games and stuff, I have to like color in either using the bucket tool and leaving like messy edges, or just using like a slightly transparent brush.
I think I have to bring her elbows in, because if I have them out, it looks like she's trying to punch somebody.
Maybe she is.
Maybe she is. Yeah. And again, we're going to go for that teardrop shape with the arms and legs. So I'm giving her great big mitts and tiny little shoulders.
Big mitts to go with those big tits.
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't you glad you started recording Discord?
Yes. There we go. Now I've kind of gone a little bit. There we go. Cute little tail. I'm going to go with a cute maid skirt. Maybe a little apron. A little bow tie. Some ruffles.
I have those ruffles.
Gotta have those ruffles.
That's ruffle.
Ha! Aha!
Uh-huh.
That's me laughing. I'm laughing right now.
Now, some styles of chibis, I like to do more realistic hands because I think it's cute. Some people find it creepy. It depends. Other people will also do like this kind of hand where they come in and they do like little tiny fingers and a little thumb. Like this. Or some people will just literally end it on a stump like Powerpuff Girls. Right? It really depends on what you're looking for. I like to do more.
Make a work circle.
Yeah, exactly. So I like to do more of like these like Tokyo Mew Mew-esque hands.
Talk about Tokyo Mew Mew. Can we talk about Tokyo Mew Mew? Can we talk about Tokyo Mew Mew?
Maybe not on the recording, but yeah, at some point.
Talk about Tokyo Mew Mew?
I love Tokyo Mew Mew so much.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We're not going to talk about Tokyo Mew Mew.
Not today, but I love you.
Yeah.
I hit a special interest.
I'm not familiar with Tokyo Mew.
Okay. Well, it's on our watch list together, so.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where is our watch list?
I don't know. I'll send you a picture of it or whatever.
And if you're getting confused
on
by
our watch list, right?
That's so many lines, Faybe.
Yeah, if you're getting confused by the lines, lol, me too. This is the part where I'll usually start using either darker. We started really dark with this one.
You failed to respond.
I did fail to respond. What did you say?
Digimon's on our watch list, right?
Fails to respond again.
This looks like the part of the sketch that I like to consider the part where it just sort of looks like whatever you want it to look like.
Exactly.
Digimon's on our watch list, right?
So at this part of the drawing, I like to do more of a sculptural thing where you can really see that I'm feeling out the different shapes. I'm going through and I'm carving out what I want. And the different shapes and what I think how they would react with each other while this character's in movement. Reg is a bit more of a thin tail. So with doing thin tails, I like to play around with them. I'm making her tail long, because again, when you're trying to make something cute, going for overly large features on a smaller character reads as adorable. People really, like, our human brains naturally look at that and we go, ooh, cute, because it's so small. So I'm going for a bit of a longer tail, which means we can have a bit more of an expressive tail as well. I made Raiju's. There we go. And I might give her her little horn, because she has a cute little horn in her new design. Little
I
flame.
need to get my DM.
I saw.
So now I'm going to
See
go
what
ahead
did
and
it.
do that again, where I'm going to lower the opacity. I'm going to lower the opacity further on this one, just so that I don't get myself too confused. And we're going to, again, add a new layer. Raiju's in call.
No, I said bye, Raju, to the image.
To the drawing. Okay.
The drawing.
I was like, get out of here. I'm drawing you.
Just
Here we go.
oblige.
So now this is the area where I'll go in with black. This is in no way my finished line art. My finished line art will be probably a step after this, because you kind of want to now flesh out your finished lines. You want to make whatever sense of the mess of the mess of your sketches. So this is the part where you're trying to read what you were putting down. So I always like to start with these basic lines. I can already hear Jamie like, draw through your shapes. So you want to get these basic lines in, figuring out where they're going to sit on your character. I like to do poofier, cute styled hair. That's too curly. Raiju has straight hair. For anyone starting, when you see that things are just disappearing without me having to erase, I'm pushing Control Z. Now, on Clip Studio, I can push Control Z as many times as I want. I think up to 30. With other programs like Photoshop, you need to push Control Alt Z to go more back than just one space. So if you're using Photoshop or something in that vein, keep that in mind. For anyone that's just using Clip Studio or anything in that vein, Control Z should do fine for you. If you're using Procreate, you can find that in your settings. I'm not sure what the shortcut is, but you do have an undo feature.
You can also change how many of the things that it saves in the preferences somewhere. If you make it do more, then obviously that's going to take more processing power because it has to remember every single little thing that you do for longer.
Yes.
But you can go back further that way. And if you're on a pencil and paper, you can just sort of tap your fingers and then nothing will happen.
You'll feel paper.
I have a pro tip for digital art. Drawing digital art with a mouse is really hard compared to using a tablet. So yeah.
Yes.
Which is why if any of your friends use a tablet to play Gartic Phone, then they're cheating.
Or you just have to get good. I don't...
Listen, I have seen people do like masterful pieces with the mouse. Like if you get used to using the mouse and you get good at using the mouse, hashtag just get good oppo, then it looks like indistinguishable and very, very good. So
that's probably from people who like either regularly draw like with just the mouse and like it'll have a lower learning curve of like using a tablet with like and stuff. And I would assume that using a tablet to draw with like a stylus would translate over to traditional art forms much better than using a mouse. In addition, I suppose maybe if you're some person who no-lifes first-person shooters and has like 70,000 hours in the newest Call of Duty game and can 720 no-scope someone from across the map, because all your free time you spend playing those games where you click the circles, like practice your aiming. Maybe mouse drawing will be pretty easy for you, but otherwise, if it's an option, you might want to get a tablet if you're seriously considering pursuing digital art.
And you can get several different kinds of tablets. When we're saying tablet, we're talking about a certain tool used by artists to be able to draw on computers, such as a Huion or a Bamboo tablet. You can also, of course, purchase a
I think they're called pen tablets and display tablets. So a pen tablet
Thank
is
you.
where the screen is not on the thing itself. Like you look up at your computer screen while your hand is down in front of you drawing on like a blank piece of plastic.
The dark
and that one
days.
does have a slightly, the dark days. And that one does have a slightly higher learning curve than just going straight to a screen tablet from traditional drawing, because you have to kind of uncouple the hand-eye coordination. But it only takes a little bit, like, to get used to of just practicing, and then you've sort of got the hang of it. And those ones are much cheaper than display tablets, which obviously have to have, like, their own screen and everything in them. But a nice place to get a cheap, like a very cheap pen tablet for just trying out beginner is Monoprice. Those ones are nice.
Yeah.
That was like, my first tablet was a $40 Monoprice one, and it was cheap as hell and very good.
You also can, of course, go ahead and buy yourself a, what are they called? The Apple tablets. iPad, thank you. I was like Apple iTablet. I wasn't kidding there. Which that's how you would get Procreate, which I believe is just a Apple product.
You can only use Procreate if you have an iPad.
Yeah,
but it's a
Apple
really
product.
good tool.
but it is one of the best drawing programs out there. A lot of artists will go out and buy iTablets in order to have that program. Go out and buy an iPad to have that program. You don't have to get it on your phone, but being able to actually draw on a larger screen is and that way you're also getting a small computer as well, which some people might find a little bit more bang for your buck,
especially on the go.
Yeah, because you can draw
just take
anywhere.
your iPad out on the train or whatever the fuck, and meanwhile I've got like a 3-in-1 HDMI cable connected to my big ass bulky laptop that I've got to plug into a fucking 3-prong thingamajig, but you can just whip out. Like, and in terms of like quality, it's pretty comparable to some of the high-end display tablets out there.
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm using
so, like, a lot of artists straight up get that for their like fancy,
like 100%.
Like the transportability is like choice.
A lot of artists will also use their tablets to stream as well. That's what Spiffy uses, as she streams right from her iPad.
That's insane.
Yeah. You can also go ahead. That's how Goat Scribble is going to be doing it too when he starts streaming. Is he's going to stream his art from his tablet.
That's nuts. I did not know they had the processing power for that kind of business.
Right? What you do is you just literally hook it up to your computer, so your computer will handle the processing, and then you can stream your display onto your computer.
Also, a little off topic from art, but I hear Apple has like the best facial tracking program. Like, if you want to get like really
absolutely, it's true. Yeah, no, ARKit is the best thing if you're interested in VTubing. You can tell with Faybe here that I am just using the base NVIDIA tracking, so it's good for what it is. Like, I am just tracking on a laptop. That webcam Riz! Where she can track me going back and forth, she can track me up and down. I don't have the angry expression. If I want to make her do an angry face, I have to like do stuff.
That was not an angry face.
Angry.
Barely.
Or ARKit can just do an angry face. It's very impressive.
You look like you're expecting a kiss. Yeah.
But yeah, ARKit is the best way to go for tracking if you're going to be doing any VTubing.
Yeah. Sorry, Oppo.
Listen, if you don't like Apple products and you want to be part of the problem, sure. I mean, I guess I won't say it that way. Let's like, I'm not going to not say that it's, or I'm not going to say, okay, listen. I guess it is like the best, like convenient to get facial tracking on the market right now.
The best convenient. But listen. For whatever.
One day there will be a better facial tracking thing that isn't Apple exclusive. Then I expect everyone to switch away from Apple products.
Valid. There's also V-Bridger as well, which is very good. It doesn't have tongue tracking or cheek tracking. I currently don't use it because it's a little bit too much on my computer. My computer goes, I'm dying, fuck, I'm dying, the world's on fire, every time.
It explodes and dies.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that route as well if you're interested. V-Bridger is fairly cheap. I think it's like, last I checked, like $25 Canadian. And it has advanced tracking so that you can make like more advanced mouth shapes like oohs and ahs. It also has the angry. It follows your mouth a little bit more, so you can make a few more different kinds of expressions. It's how you'll get like the really, really in-depth tracking, is they mix the iPhone tracking with V-Bridger to get those more extensive facial movements.
Wow.
I'm gonna move this hand a little bit closer to the face. Because you kind of want more of a limp wrist going on.
Like, you know.
Yeah, like you guys, I don't have hand tracking.
You don't have hand tracking, you're just gonna have to imagine it.
Now, like, what I like to do with my hands is I like to finish it off at the pointer finger and then have the middle finger, and then I like to draw in another triangle for my pointer finger, and that just adds a little bit of depth to your hand. Some people will also only draw 3 hands, and that is because that is a animation practice to make it a little bit easier to animate, because 4 fingers gets a little bit too complicated, especially the further away you get from a character. I'm drawing
finger hands, not 3 entire hands.
Oh yeah.
It's easier to draw 3 entire hands. You just have the other one coming out of the middle of their back over their head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But people will.
As an artist, where would you put a 3rd arm on a character?
Under one of their other arms. I would do it Steven Universe style, where I would just like human centipede it on.
As an artist, I would put it coming out of their forehead.
That is fair. This could also be fine. And then I'm gonna give Raiju puffy sleeves because she's in a cute little maid dress. And now Raiju has a collar on in all of her pieces, so we're going to put that collar on. We're going to add some ruffles to her chest, and then we're going to bring her apron down. We're going to cut her like this with a ribbon. The apron will finish here. We'll do a little cute little heart pocket. Ooh, no, you know what? We're gonna do a kitten paw.
Ooh.
You're
fantastic choice.
There we go. And I'll make that cuter when we get into the actual finished line art. And then we want a lot of crinoline in this skirt. So I'm gonna keep...
That's a technical term.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep it very round and bubbly on the bottom. And then bring up the skirt like this. And we can add more folds in the skirt. When I'm doing folds, I'll just draw a squiggly line like this. And just get those squiggles in. And then at the tips of the squiggles, I will draw lines back this way to create depth. And you do the same thing underneath, where you basically finish off those shapes, and suddenly you have this 3D ruffle. I'm gonna change up this because realize I don't like it. So we're gonna have Raiju's feet together.
Mm-hmm.
Give her a little bit of a high heel. Now, when I'm doing feet, I don't like to put a lot of detail into my feet. With hands, I think it's cool. With feet, I find that if you're doing like detailed tootsies, it gets into the fetish art kind of deal where it suddenly feels very fetishistic. If you're going to be doing chibi feet, I like to do some of this. If you're going to draw toes, you can do this. You can just do lines like this, like a paw. But you definitely don't want to go in there and like draw your toes, because it starts getting into like horror territory. Especially when I'm getting into shoes. I'm gonna do a little bow. Or yeah.
What either. I love when they do the sandal where it's where they do the sandal where it's like just the strap and that defines the toes.
Oh yeah, where it's just this and then they just. It's amazing.
Just right on top of all the other lines so that you can't see it.
Oh, sorry, Annie. Sorry, here. And
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna bring this in.
Yeah, I feel like it would be kind of weird to have really detailed feet in a chibi art.
Right? And then we want her tail to come up. And again, we want to keep that around the same distance. You can have it thin out like a Miyu tail. That is also cute. But for Raiju's tail, it's all one length all the way to the tip. So I want to keep that in the art.
Meow.
Here we go. And then I think it's cute to put her, because she has little bells on her collar and we can't really show that in this piece. So if we take her bells and put them here, and then we can add a bow.
Oh, I love a bell on the tail.
Right? We'll go full Tokyo Mew Mew with it. And then we can add a couple little pieces for her
fur.
fur.
From sneaking up on you.
Exactly. Gotta watch those cat girls and them be sneaking.
And the cat boys too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very sneaky.
Does it help that Raiju's also a demon and will take your soul for fun?
Not mine though.
Well,
that's
that
what you
would be a little
think.
hard, yeah. He's also a demon.
That is fair. There we go. So again, this isn't our final line art. You can kind of tell because it's very messy. Things are kind of overlapping. And this is me drawing through my shapes so that I have a better idea of where things are going to land when I go in to do my final line art. It also gives me a chance to do things like move Raiju around the screen so I can figure out exactly where I want her to be placed. Oh, come on, you silly thing. It's grabbing everything else but Raiju. So I want her to be right in the middle. Because this is probably going to be more like a sticker or something that she can randomly use whenever she wants. And again, we're going to get rid of our blue lines underneath. And I'm going to move the gray back to where it's supposed to be. So that we just have our black line. Oh, nice. And Annie's like, why aren't you just using your Control Z? And I'm like, shh. We're again going to lower our opacity again so that we don't have to worry about it. Again, if you're using traditional, you just erase. Just get in there.
You just get that kneaded eraser and I'm gonna roll it over.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would move to, if you are using traditional, I'd move to using a fine tip marker. Sharpie is fine. Sharpie will bleed through your paper. It doesn't matter how thick your paper is. There's a good chance it's going to bleed onto the other side. So make sure that you have something underneath. You can also get other different kinds of pens, like, I should have brought up a list of them, but Castervale, I think it's called. I used Copics a lot. I really like the fine tip Copic pens. Copic?
Not to be confused with
I've always
Copenhagen.
pronounced it Copic.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be confused with the place instead of the pen.
But I like using
cigarettes,
a
right?
0.5 or 0.7 for doing my line work. If you're going to go a little bit bigger, they do have Sharpies that go a little bit bigger, but you want to look for anywhere between a 0.5 and a 0.7 to do your line art. If you want to get some thinner lines, then you might have to go and get some artist-based pen kits, which can be a little bit more pricey. But if you're just going to go out and grab yourself like a 5-cent Sharpie, just make sure that you're grabbing a 0.5, and that should do for what you need for a cheaper option.
Real
but again,
looking fucker.
It'll bleed, so make sure that you put something underneath your piece, especially if you're working in a sketchbook and you're trying to save money, because it will bleed through your other pages. And that means that you're going to have to be drawing around those ink smears. So you want to put like something like cardstock, or like work on top of like a book you don't care about, stuff like that, to protect the rest of your sketchbook from the bleed through.
Just do it right on the dinner table.
Don't do it on the oh god, the amount of trouble I've got in. And again, make sure that you're making a new layer. Now there's a couple options you can do here. You can, if you're on Clip Studio, you can work on a regular rastered layer, which is what I prefer to do. Your lines might be a bit messier, they're not going to be as sharp, but I find that I get a bit more control that way. And if I want to, I can go in and change the color and edit things. Or what you can do is that you can create a vector layer. I forgot the word for vector. Yeah.
You don't like vector layers?
So for anyone who doesn't know what a vector is, a vector allows you to zoom in as close as you want, and the image will never pixelize. So it's really good for stuff like line art or for paneling. I find that it gets rid of a little bit of your like for my flow, but it can make things a lot faster and easier if you do it that way. So that is an option for you.
Though. I don't do a traditional art, but I do a lot of edits in like Photoshop and more recently Affinity. So I am familiar with vector layers actually. And there are some annoying artifacts sometimes, like an infinitely thin white line between a colored picture and a black border you put there.
Yes.
And no matter how far you zoom in, it's just still there, but it's infinitely thin, and it just looks so bad. And if you have like OCD or something, it's going to annoy you so much. And but when you export it to a PNG, don't worry, it'll probably not be there.
Hopefully.
Probably. So the difference between a vector and a raster, like kind of thing, basically, like they're describing the way that the image is I guess sort of rendered to you. A vector line is, you basically describe the path of a line that you would like to take with the pen tool, which is not like a physical, like you're not putting marks down on a paper, if that was what you were like what you're comparing it to. You're just saying this is where a line would be, and then the program takes that and goes, okay, I can make a line along this, I can use this kind of pen or this kind of texture, and it can be this width or that width or whatever, and you can edit it like that, and you can combine it with the shapes and all that kind of thing. If you know about the pen tool or about like editing paths and things, that's how you would do it. But you can't like go in with an eraser and just sort of take a chunk out of the middle, because that's not how it works. You would have to like edit the path itself to have a break there. Versus raster is you go in with like something that is a mark making tool, like a pen or a brush or something, and you press it down on the tablet, and the program goes, okay, there's a mark here now, and I will physically change the pixels to represent that. And so you're basically just like coloring in the different pixels and stuff. And then if you want to take an eraser, you can go in and like edit it with that and stuff like that. And they have different uses. If you zoom in on a raster layer, you're going to get pixelated because it's using the pixels to describe it. But if you zoom in on a vector layer, it'll just render it to be that size.
Yeah.
Because it's doing the rendering for you. But if you want to like do a sketch, a vector line is dog shit garbage for that, because it's a lot more of a, like, you have to move the points around to change the way that the line looks, whereas you can just like very intuitively go in with a pencil or an eraser on a raster thing.
So realistically, it's not either or, and you can have a preference, but you should expect to use both.
Yeah. I have such a visceral reaction to vector layers because it seems like every fucking digital animation program is all vector shit. Like the only good raster-based like 2D animation program out there is TV Paint, and that thing is stupid expensive.
You can also do
all the
basic animations.
For it is in French.
That is true. You can also do basic animations on Clip Studio, and there are step-by-steps, but it's not as good as TV Paint.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, like, you can animate on Photoshop. I animated on Photoshop for years, but my stuff wasn't good until I switched to Clip Studio. Like, Annie could say, like, she watched me try to animate on Photoshop and the amount of tears.
I also animated on Photoshop.
We were
in the same classes.
We were in the same classes crying together while trying to animate a raccoon.
Video layers. A crueler joke has never been told.
I'm gonna bring this eye up a little bit because I realized that I squashed the eye, but I changed the size.
Yeah. Who's there?
Boop.
How dare you?
How fucking on my YouTube video.
Insane.
It will live forever now.
There we go. Again, we're gonna come in and do the little lashes. As you can see, I'm very close right now, and my stabilization, the reason that it's taking a little bit longer to draw is because I bumped my saturation, or not saturation, my stabilization all the way up. I think I'm at like an insane 100. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that's because I want my lines to be extremely smooth here. I want them to do exactly what I want them to do. I don't want any shaking. I don't want any little bumps.
Yeah, so stabilization is another powerful tool you get with digital drawing that there's really no equivalent for in traditional drawing, where the program will smooth out your lines for you. It's less precise, but it's very, very useful for doing line art because
it definitely cuts your time in half. No, it doesn't. Like, I've practiced doing line art for years. I did graphic design classes, I did illustration classes, and I've learned how to draw fairly smoothly, and that it comes with time and patience. So for anyone that's looking to do that, there's different exercises you can do to get better at drawing and doing line art. And stabilization, they're boring as hell. I'm not gonna mince it. It's boring as all heck, but there are things you can do to improve your line art. And I suggest working traditionally and learning how to do it traditionally. But at the same time, there's a very, very different learning curve. You don't have to start traditionally if you are going to just be drawing digitally, but there is amount of time and effort that you have to put in that stabilization can't help with. So make sure that you're practicing and doing your doing exercises, and also make sure you're taking breaks and massaging and stretching your wrists. As an artist, you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. This is supposed to be a fun way that we communicate with the world. Don't let it hurt you. Right?
Speaking of, with chance you should take some stretches right now, Faybe.
How dare you? How dare you come into my house and make me take care of myself? Oh, I feel it on my shoulder. I've injured myself at school trying to get finals done. I hurt myself so bad that to this day, I still have pain in my wrists and in my shoulders and neck from pushing myself too hard. Yeah. Right? You have to make sure that you're taking breaks and that you're listening to your body. If your wrist starts to hurt, step away from whatever you're doing. I know you're having fun. I know you're hyper focused. Take care of your wrists, take care of your shoulders, take care of your back. Make sure that your space that you're set up in is ergonomic. I know that's really hard for some people, especially those of us who are disabled, who need to be moving around, who need to be fidgeting, you need to make sure that you're in an ergonomic space that works for you, works for your spine, works for your neck and your shoulders, and that you're taking the time to really make sure that those areas are limbered up and that you're making sure you're stretching and hydrating. I know that it seems silly, but make sure that you are intaking some form of liquid. It doesn't need to be water, but it needs to be something.
Speaking of intaking forms of liquid that aren't water, if you are having trouble like with stabilization in like traditional art forms, you might want to not drink too much coffee.
That is true. Yeah. Less coffee.
Just get proper rest in general as well.
Hey, take care of yourselves, fuckers.
Hey, take care of yourselves.
You didn't finish the sentence.
I don't remember what I was saying.
Amazing. Incredible.
Yeah. No, Faybe.
I was making fun of you for chickening out of saying take care of yourself, fuckers, and you just like dumped the entire memory.
I said actually
seconds prior, and you were just like, what? No, I didn't say shit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm making Raiju's mouth. Usually when I'm doing like the kitty mouths, I go very round like this. I'm making it a bit sharper because she is a demon queen. So I still want to be cute,
she's
but
a bit spiky.
She's a bit spiky. She still has those round, cute edges, but you can see where I'm adding in these sharp points, and that is to tell that kind of shape story, right? Shapes have a language, and you can use that to your advantage to tell different kind of stories with like whether you're adding like points into a character that looks good but is evil, or you have a character that is evil but is secretly good. Like you can look at like Nimona, for example, for really good examples of that, where Nimona herself has all these different sharp angles, but overall she's a very soft character. She's portrayed as this evil monster, but actually she is our heroine in the story. The same thing goes.
Spoiler, is it?
No. It's revealed very early.
It's yeah. She's like, look at me, I'm a little crazy villain. Yeah. It's the point that you're looking at like reversing stereotypes. It's the same thing I'm trying to do with a choice, not to go too far into it, where I'm playing with, you're seeing a lot of these round shapes in the villagers and these sharp shapes outside of the village, but when you look closer you can see that I've rounded all this sharp points, and I bring in the colors and other shape stories to tell the difference in between the two. So that's something to look at.
They love a shape language. They fucking love a shape language.
We love it.
You look at those shapes and you go, oh fuck, there's a language there.
There's a fucking language there. So that's something to pay attention to when you're doing your line art and when you're building your character, is look at those sharp points and look at where you want things to be softer or when you want them to be harder. You also want to play with your negative and positive spaces. Now I'm going to mix this up and Annie's going to probably have to jump in and help correct me. But a negative space is anything that isn't filled up, like out here, and positive space is anything that is filled up, like inside Raiju. Right?
Ayo.
So you want to make sure that you have a strong silhouette for whatever character you're doing. That includes a chibi. It needs to be evident, like you want to make sure that you're that this is a person. If you were to completely silhouette the character, you want to be able to see exactly what is being drawn and what's happening, even if that happens.
It's also so useful for figure drawing. If you're finding that you're figure drawing and things are looking wonky and you just can't figure out where you've gone wrong, stop trying to draw the model and start trying to draw where the model isn't. And look at the shapes that are made in, like, you know, if they have their hand on their hip, look at the shape inside the crook of the arm and try and make that look accurate. And then you'd be like, oh shoot, I've made the forearm way too long, or it's like it's connecting to the wrong part of the hip, or oh, like all that kind of thing. Like it's this is a terrible example because I'm looking at the image in the drawing chat there, but like there's two models that are holding hands and kind of jumping upwards. And if you were just drawing the models, then that's one thing. But then if you look at the space between the two of them, it's this kind of like complex organic shape. And if you try and make sure that looks accurate, then you'll have a much better reference for where like the elbows or the shoulders are supposed to be, or the foot of the one model next to the hip of the other model kind of thing. It's very important to look at that too.
I'm also using
also use this to add stupid hidden messages to your art, like the Gotham symbol.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely. Also, when you're
modern tradition,
I'm using a very thick line to draw. People also like using very, very thin lines depending. I'm also up on like I was saying, like I'm at a 2000 by 2000 canvas because again, you can always go smaller. You can't always go bigger, right? And that can be said for both traditional and digital art. You can't make something larger than it is because then you'll see those pixels and it'll become low quality. Mm-hmm. So I like working at a 2000 by 2000 because you can always shrink it down and it will look somewhat the same depending on how small you go. You can't always work larger. Mm-hmm. Right? But that also depends, makes how and what size of pen I use different. I like to have my chibis have a thicker line, and that is so if they show up smaller somewhere, those lines are so evident and still visible on the piece. With thin lines, sometimes they disappear when you make things smaller. So I'm using currently a size 15 pen. I find that it's kind of like the perfect for working at this. If I work any smaller, I like to use a 0.5 and then a 0.3 a 5 and a 3. Sorry, I'm still thinking in traditional pens. So I like using a 5 for my lines and a 3 for small details. So I like to bump between the two. It's really good to have variations in your lines. For doing animation or anime, you'll usually have a single point width with your lines because that's easier to animate. When you start getting into illustrations, a lot of times artists will use different line variations to tell you what's closer and what's farther away. Different lines will show different things. So for example, this line looks much closer than this line, even though they're the exact same length. Actually, I fucked that up a little bit, but you see what I mean. If I do this, yeah. The line that's darker looks closer and the line that's thinner looks farther away. You can do the same thing with colors. The color that's darker is going to look closer to you and the color that's lighter is going to look further away. So when you're building your background, midground, and foreground, you can keep that in mind and you'll create that illusion. Because essentially that's what we're doing as artists is we're creating an illusion to an image. So we're using those basics to kind of help us create and build this illusion.
So in short,
all art lies
it's never too big. So in short, it's never too big, and sometimes it'll be too small.
Yeah.
Ayo.
Ayo. Bigger is better because it can become smaller. AAO.
I don't think that's how it works, Faybe.
Not how it works, no.
I think you need a biology lesson.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about art, Oppo. Go ahead. Don't get me actually this is going up on YouTube. Please stop.
I'm an anatomy. Well, you see, the study of art the study of art involves referencing anatomy a lot. Often you find yourself drawing human characters. You know?
Careful.
What careful?
And this is going up on YouTube.
What do you mean? I'm just talking about.
What I like to do for points in hair especially because when you're drawing, especially with the stabilization, it likes to round that out, and I hate this. I hate when it does this. But what I come in and do is that I will erase the extra, like so. And so you'll still get this natural point in the hair, but this becomes super sharp, and I like that kind of like point when you're done doing hair. Now, of course, you're going to do hair differently every time. Like, say, if you were going to do like more of like an afro style or a curly hair, I like to do more of an organic. I forgot to push C. You're going to do more of an organic shape, like so.
A what character?
Bald.
Bald.
Oh, well then you simply wouldn't.
Yeah, you just wouldn't draw hair, right?
Eyebrows.
So like when I'm drawing Eve, I reference this a lot, where I'll give her this big organic poof at the back of her head. I had to finish it. I know that I'm going to just erase it, but I wanted to finish it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I've done something. Stop that right now.
Oh, hey, that's me.
That's you. I must have accidentally pushed S instead.
Does that show up in the recording?
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't show anything.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yes.
The thing about a recording is that it's very editable.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Hi, Manny.
Hi, Manny.
Hello, Manny. Welcome in. Just so you know, I am recording for YouTube, so that if you are heard, you know that you are being currently recorded.
Anyways.
So again, you can sharpen these pieces by just going in, and remember, pushing C allows you, one, it will save you time because you don't have to flip your whole pen over. You just click a button and you can start painting with transparency. Again, but that is only for your Clip Studio users.
Nice. How's the drawing going?
It's going good. We're almost done our 2 hours, which is nice. We're just getting to the line art, so we're just going through different lessons. I'm going to be posting this up on YouTube, so if you missed anything or if you wanted to come back and follow from the very beginning of the lesson, it will be there. Also, watch out for tangent lines. That is a problem I have all the time, where lines cross where they're not supposed to, or they're too close to each other. For example, the eye and the hair here. The hair, I wanted to kind of point more towards the eye, but right now, because of the way they're lining up, if they're too close together, like when we do shrink this down, they're going to blend together and look a mess. So you want to be very careful of tangent lines. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to redraw the hair here. If I remember to push
you about tangent lines.
Yeah.
I like to go off on tangents pretty often.
Yeah,
Another
you sure
tangent
do.
line is, say, like, if I draw this and then I come in, like, I just deleted one. But if I draw another hair like this, that is also tangent line. Or if I come up the same angle,
Where-
that is a tangent.
Where it touches the eye, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to change the shape to make a different kind of silhouette between the positive and negative shape, so that it's more evident that they're separate objects.
Mm-hmm. Art involves math and thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Not always, but for when you're doing character design, absolutely. And again, I want Raiju's horn to be very sharp, so I'm going to come in with the same technique I used for the hair and just do a little bit of erasing, so I can get that really sharp, pointed line. For those of you who are listening along on Discord, I do have my Spotify up and playing if you also have Spotify and would like to listen along.
I'm playing Deep Rock Galactic Survivors right now.
Oh, nice.
Slightly modded.
Of course.
I almost accidentally clicked X on the Discord. I almost left.
Oh no. Goodbye, Manny.
I said I almost.
There we go. Again, we're going to come down and do this cute little point. And I'm going to create a silhouette here so you can see that that's hair. No, I just created a tangent is what's happened.
Oh no. Wait.
There we go. That's a bit better.
Fuck. I soft locked it.
Rip.
What I'm also doing here to make my life a little bit easier later is I'm trying to make sure that there are no points that don't touch, and that is so I can come in later with the paint bucket tool. Now, paint bucket isn't for everybody. For Clip Studio, you can do a couple different settings that make life a little bit easier and make the bucket tool a little bit better to use. But know that if you're, especially if you're going in with really thin lines, it's not always going to work out in your favor. So it's really up to you. Either way, you should not be sitting there and coloring like a coloring book. You're wasting time. It's going to take you a lot more time to do, and it's not always going to turn out perfect. If you do have to go in and color more like by hand, I would actually suggest using the fill lasso tool that Clip Studio has to offer. If you're going traditionally, I'm sorry, you are just going to have to color it in. There is no time saver. You just have to color it in. If you're using pencil crayons, I suggest keeping your pen extremely soft. You barely want to touch the paper with your colored pencil. And slowly work in circles so you get a very even coat. The same can be said for markers. You never want to push down with a marker. And you want to work in little circles so you get an even spread of ink.
And you want to stretch as much as possible.
Yes.
Your hand, Oppo.
Yeah, you are taking breaks. You are taking breaks if you're doing this traditionally.
You always got to shake. You got to like stretch your hands, or else it's gonna be very damaged.
Yeah, Froggy did a great. I can link to that as well. Froggy did a great step-by-step how artists should be stretching. Yeah, a little. No, I don't think that's needed. Get right onto the ears.
My cat is currently scratching my couch. Hold on. Kitty cat.
Yeah.
Please.
We're gonna come up like this. And I want a sharp point here. Because we're also using the lines to try and guide the ear or the eye when someone's looking at the piece. So if we make this really sharp, it's going to guide the eye up, hit the tip of the ear, and then the ear will drag it back down into the piece. So we want this to be a bit sharper. And again, a lot of especially doing the style and stuff, like I'm giving you guys the bare bones, but a lot of these different styles have to do with your choices and how you feel as an artist. So for example, like I was showing you guys several different ways to do something. None of the ways that I'm doing it are right or wrong. There's no way to do it right or wrong. I just want to give you guys like a idea of how to start and then to expand off of that yourselves, add in what you like. If you like don't want to do the teardrop shape for the body, you don't have to. If you want to go giant with the eyes and like have them take up the whole face, go for it. Have fun.
Want to make an echo arc?
Yes, there is no right or wrong way to do this. Some people really like are sticklers for it. Like there's only one right way. Have fun with it. Let yourself experiment. This is how you communicate with others. That is what art is made for. It is what it is. It is a way to communicate, and find the way that you like to communicate and make you happy. If you like the way that I do stuff, this is how I do it step by step. And you can take that and run with it, or you can add on to it and do what you like to do, which I highly suggest, because that's how you're going to grow as an artist. What is the quote? Great artists steal. Great artists steal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean like go and copy somebody else's art. I mean like look at the stuff you like about my stuff and apply it to your own. Right? Don't trace and post or repost art. That's shitty. No one will appreciate that. What I mean is, like, if you like the way I do my eyelashes, try them.
Learning.
It is a very good tool for learning, just don't claim it as your own.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I got that point right off the bat. Look at that. Look at that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a test run for when I do my Twitch lesson, because I am going to be also doing a Twitch lesson on Twitch while we're live. So I think this is a good setup for that, where it's just me free-flowing and talking while I work and explaining every time I switch a tool or switch to a different tool. Because I will be doing a more in-depth art lesson on Twitch where I go in and talk about like line width and hue, color, shape, stuff like that in more of a one-on-one art lesson that you would probably see in high school or in college, university for beginners. And that'll be, again, a 3-hour lesson on Twitch. I have yet to decide on the date, but you guys will hear in announcements. For those of you who are on YouTube, we do have a Discord where I post like everything. Discord hears first before every other program, whether I'm going to be going live, if I do new art. And also, if anyone likes my art, I do have a VGen set up if you would like a commission.
Mm-hmm. Baby's art's pretty great.
Aww. Yeah, as you can see.
Aww.
Everyone should commission Faybe.
No!
Just not like
I'm gonna shout myself out! No!
Give her some free time. But like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like commission often, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is where those squiggles are going. Oh my god, this is where those squiggles are gonna come in clutch. You're gonna come in and get your squiggles for your skirt in. I like to go for a wave pattern. And then you're going to connect it. You're not gonna draw straw lines anywhere. You want to connect it up to the waist. So no matter what, you're gonna connect back up to the waist like so. And you're gonna want to come in and do the underside of the skirt. And you can see just by doing that, I've created a piece of fabric. And it's now a 3D shape. So that is a quick way to do ruffles or pleats in a skirt. Especially if you don't have time to do them. It makes it a little bit faster, a little bit easier. Bing, bang, boom. You got a skirt. You got the ruffles.
You gotta have the ruffles.
I'm also going to come in and do a bit more organic shapes down here. I'm going to do a little bit of bloating, blah, 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 bloop, bloop, We want to avoid shapes like this. That's happening because of my stabilization, where I'm moving a little bit too fast, and so it connected a little bit too far away. So pay attention for that. I'm also going to probably come back and do some erasing so that these shapes don't cut into each other. For those of you working traditionally, you don't have the option to erase, so you want to make sure that your lines underneath are perfect before you start lining. I would also try and line on a light board on your official piece of paper so that if anything happens, you're never hurting your sketch. You don't have to do that, it's just my recommendation. If you don't have the money for that, I've set up, like, I just got like a glass table and that I shined a lamp up through, and that's what I used for the longest time. It's not great, but it works. Or if you can't get that
set up, you can always try just squinting real hard.
Squinting real hard, putting it up to a window, that's not ergonomic, but it can be done. Or you can just draw directly. If you feel confident enough, go for it, just draw directly on the sketch. I did commissions like that for different conventions. I sold a lot of those where I was just doing little sketches for $2 and people were coming up and buying those.
And at the end of the day, don't worry about quote unquote ruining something, because if you drew it once, you can draw it again. Maybe it won't be the exact same, but you can draw something just as good.
I also suggest taking a photo of it before you start lining, because that way, even if something does happen, you still have the original sketch. And nothing's ever fully ruined, as Bob Ross puts it, happy accidents and all that.
Yeah. Don't be too precious about your art.
I think the bows are going to be black.
Make bad art. That's the most important thing you can do, is make bad art.
Make bad art, it's true. My art, especially Chibi's, even 10 years ago, look very different from the Chibis I draw now. And that is because constantly learning, redrawing, taking inspiration from... For people who love drawing anime, my one suggestion is try and look at different styles and incorporate them into your anime, and that'll help you get away from, say, stuff like same face syndrome. It'll help you expand your horizons a little bit. Don't listen to teachers that are like, you have to draw traditionally and anime is an art. Don't listen to that. That's bullshit. Oh, no. But
if you like drawing anime, then draw anime. Just
then
make
draw
sure you draw
anime.
all kinds of stuff.
Right. Don't just draw one style.
If you like drawing anime, but then you do some like realistic figure drawing sketches and like experiment in different styles and do like, I don't know, fucking paint a still life, then when you go back to drawing anime, it'll look better.
It's true. It's true.
Maybe not painting a still life. I don't know what that'll do for you.
That'll probably...
You'll have painted a still life and your mom will be very proud.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to draw a still life to make your mother happy, and that is just how life works. For anyone confused about how I just did the magic that I just did with the 3D, all I'm doing is I'm cutting into the shape, and then I'm copying the shape on the other side. And that is creating a 3D effect. So I'm drawing like the inside of the ball. So I drew the circles, so I know exactly where the circle was. I cut into it, and then I'm literally just drawing the same shape on the other side. It doesn't matter if the shape is correct. I'm just making that detail, and suddenly you're going to read that as if it's 3D. No, it doesn't matter if it's correct or not.
That shit's magic.
That shit, magic. Now, I like to draw, when I'm drawing clothes on top of a body, I like to lift them up a little bit because it's a new layer. Now, things are usually fairly thin, so you're not going to get too much of a layer on top. But for this instance, again, something bigger on a smaller character. Cute as fuck! It's so cute! It's so cute! Our brains can't help it, right? We're just kind of engineered to be like, oh, that's cute! It's the same thing with lifting someone's eyes lowering someone's eyes a little bit further down on their face. You're going to look at that and say, oh my god, that's a baby, it's adorable, because our brains are hardwired to see things like that and think, oh, cute. It's why dogs and cats have been bred thousands of years to look the way they do, is so that we look at them and we go, oh, a baby, a little baby, and it works every time. Because we're just hardwired to love things that look like that. And it's why chibis are so, people are drawn to chibis so much, is because they have those big eyes that are lower down set on their face. And they look little, and we read that as baby, and our brains are automatically hardwired to want to protect and love. Because we're freaks.
We're freaks.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure babies have like the same size eyes as like adults do.
They do.
Which
They do.
proportionally make them look.
Oh yeah,
massive
like
and
your eyes can't grow. An eye doesn't grow. It's a weird little sack. It can't grow.
Oh, I heard a fun fact. You want to a while ago? You want to hear it?
Sure.
If the body's immune system was aware that it had eyeballs, it would eat them
Oh, I've heard that.
or digest them.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, kids, don't snitch about the fact that you have eyes.
Don't snitch about your eyes.
Wear shades.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There we go. No, Andy, would you mind if I credited you? Because you did help me out a lot with the lesson today.
Sure.
Perfect, thank you. I'm gonna delete this line. And by delete, I mean I'm just gonna go in and erase it. Because I think that actually having this cute line here is super sweet. Just like that thin line like this. I think that looks really cute. We are gonna come in with thinner lines. I'm actually gonna go to the 5 now that I'm getting close to the end of the drawing, and I'm gonna start adding details in with the thinner line, because again, you want that variation in line work. I think that it adds a little bit to your piece. I like to add, like, especially in the hair, I'll come in and start adding lines. Oh, I missed the whole back of her head.
She doesn't need it.
But you can start adding these very organic shapes in a line there. And all of a sudden, this added texture to her hair adds a little bit more depth to the piece. Same if you're gonna come in, like I like adding little lines to the cheeks for the blush. I'll add it into the ruffles to add a little bit more floof. Maybe a little couple lines here on the tail. I might change my mind on that. Yeah, I changed my mind on that immediately. Never mind. Don't put it there. You can also use the thinner line to like come in like I did here on the skirt and flush out this shape because it didn't read well. There, that reads better. And when I say read, what I'm doing is I'm creating the illusion of a skirt. So people read an image much like they would read a page. So we talk about like shape language or color language, stuff like that. So technically you are reading a piece. So I like to think of it when I'm saying stuff like that. I like to say that doesn't read as this doesn't read as this, because I want people to be able to look at this and be able to say, that is a maid outfit, that is a skirt, that is a dress, that is fabric. So I want people to read it like a book, essentially.
But Faybe, aren't you dyslexic?
I'm gonna beat you up.
Oh, he's got you. He's got you.
Comes in here.
I'll go rearrange the, what's it called? I'll go get the shovel. I'll go get the shovel.
There we go. No, you know what? I want it to be more heart-shaped, actually. I want it to be like, there we go. That's it!
Oh,
That's it! That's so cute!
That's the fucking one.
There we go.
And then when you're doing cat paws are shaped like this. So you want the beans to all point up to the tip like this. So they're still going to be spaced out, but you want them to point up like this. So you're not just drawing circles, you're more drawing, again, we're going back to that teardrop. And part of it is that I find the teardrop very cute. So I like adding the teardrop shape into my characters. Especially characters that are supposed to be a bit cuter.
Makes him cuter.
Sometimes my keyboard doesn't listen to me, and that's okay. That's totally fine and not frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
I made these guys too big.
Jesus Christ, my cat.
There we go. And you'll notice that I didn't fill in or draw the iris. In my style, I like to have the iris be, the pupil be lineless. I find it adds a little bit of depth and it lets me play a little bit more with the piece. I draw it in the original sketch so I know whereabouts it would be. But I like having it be just full color lineless on the actual eye itself. And I just pick like a darker color of the shade that we're going to be using. So Raiju has almost like a burgundy eye color. So I'm going to go with the darkest I possibly can without going fully black into that red color. And that will give this really deep, shiny look. For drawing more traditionally, your pupil are usually just fully black, depending on stigmatisms or calluses and stuff like that over your eye. But for doing anime, you can get away with doing stuff like this, where you're going to be coloring it in a color. Of course, we have reached the end of our 2-hour lesson. Thank you guys for coming by.
Yes.
So this is what we ended off with. I'm gonna finish off Raiju's hair really quick. Oh my god, I still left her bald. I even talked about it. I was like, yeah. Oh my gosh, see. I will probably finish this off screen, get her some color, make her look real cute. Thank you guys for coming by. Thank you on YouTube if you're watching this. I super appreciate you, and I'm gonna stop the recording. Again, follow me on Twitch. I am Totally Not a Fairy on Twitch. I'm a Totally Not a Fairy here. Again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Faybe. I am a human and a storyteller and nothing else. I hope to see you all soon, dreamers. I'm gonna stop the recording now. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.